Governor is build den Dónal Gallagher is build den Commission den Bank Central agus a Cordia Iliog agus a go háirithe las wir an Corcaig an túsal cead tá fíorcin fáilte rah go léir go dtí áras an Uachtaráin áthas arm ghuiil an clúadar íontach seo meascathe de loch na bancéirí slocht an ceol costal le céile chun anár agus arm a thuairt de Rory Gallagher. Governor, members of the Gallagher family, members of the Central Bank Commission, Deputy Lord Mayor of Cork, so many distinguished people. You are all most welcome to Áras from Áras and Uachtaráin for what is a very special occasion. One that has the very, very best possible prospects, and that is the mixture of excellence in music with banking. I think that it is a very, very wonderful occasion that we're able to celebrate the launching of a commemorative coin in honour of one of the greatest musicians in the history of our country, and certainly the greatest guitarist in our history. And I'm absolutely delighted to see so many of Rory's friends and family here today. I had an opportunity of meeting them at another event, and it was such a pleasure. But of course this is a coinage event as well. And I think it's a coinage event as well as an honorific event celebrating musical excellence. I think, thinking about it, it was the great chronicler of ancient Greece, Herodotus, who himself is a contested figure as the father of history, who first identified the ancient Anatolian kingdom of Lydia as the source of the very first minted gold and silver coin. The claims made by Herodotus, although he might be contested in other respects, in relation to coinage, it has been proven by archaeological excavations. And those first coins, crafted from electrum, which is naturally occurring mixture of gold and silver, was stamped on one side with the lion of Lydia, the symbol of the ancient kingdom and its people. For those coins were not only a practical medium of exchange or store of value, they were a symbol not just of sovereignty or of a political community, but of the ideals and values which the Lydians sought to elevate. The lion represented strength and courage, just as in his time, the owl of Athena, stamped on the tail of every coin produced by the Delian League, celebrated the cultivation of wisdom and knowledge. There are immense lessons in all of this, I'm sure, but the history of coinage in our own country reflects our own long and unrelenting struggle for national independence. For centuries, the English crown jealously controlled the authority to issue coinage in Ireland, which either depicted the reigning king or queen or the crowned harp, the symbol of royal authority over Ireland. The great Jonathan Swift directly challenged that authority in the Drapier's Letters. Coming dangerously, for any challenge to the crown at the time was dangerous to the man or woman who issued it, close to asserting the right of the Irish people to establish their own mint. And indeed newspapers of the time spoke about the right to the coinage. The minting of coin by an independent Irish state on behalf of the people did not commence until 1928, over 200 years after Swift's polemics. The coinage was issued by the Currency Commission, established under the Coinage Act of 1927, and the design was chosen by a judging panel chaired by William Butler Yeats, then a member of the Free State Senate. The unedited versions of Yeats's speech in that speech on the coinage is probably almost nearly as famous as his speech on divorce. The Currency Commission did not fulfil the functions of a central bank, but of a currency board, and our currency remained subordinate to the pound sterling. While a central bank was established in 1943, it was not until the 1970s that it began to exercise the full range of monetary policy instruments. And I'm so pleased that so many of you are here today. I've never seen so many in the one spot, which is very instructive. The governor will be pleased and no doubt relieved to know that in my present circumstances, I do only rarely allow myself to be drawn into matters of monetary and fiscal policy. And there I tend to concentrate on exogenous influences rather than internal ones. So I'll refrain this morning from any comment on the wisdom or otherwise of either historical or contemporary arrangements. Now, the designs for the coinage, and designers are so important, adopted by the Currency Commission of the Free State, that very first one, remained with us until we joined the Monetary Union and adopted the euro as our currency. Of course, the harp, the symbol of the sovereignty of the Irish people, Muintir na hÉireann, still remains etched on every euro coin issued on behalf of the Minister of Finance by the Central Bank of Ireland. Vishintakan made the Gort Yeats in Nidia Feshocht. In 1927, Yeats and his fellow judges took on a heavy responsibility, and in the Yeats's biography and work there is reference to the amount of time that he devoted to it. In trying to decide on those representations that would best express the spirit of the new state, Yeats and his committees said, "Birds and beasts, what better symbols could we find for this horse-riding, salmon-fishing, cattle-raising country?" It tells you a great deal as well about William Butler Yeats's sensibilities in relation to the circumstances of the Ireland of the 1920s. But in our time, what better symbol could we find for our creative, artistic, freedom-loving country than an image of one of our own most iconic musicians, Rory Gallagher? And I'm pleased that the Central Bank, it's so wonderful, assisted by the Numismatic Advisory Committee, spurred on indeed too by members of the public, decided to honour and commemorate Rory in this way. And you know, when we look at Rory Gallagher's image in that, it isn't just the excellence, but the total commitment of a superb artist. And it is involved, this picture which hangs in my own study with Phil in it from 1982, is one which is about the generosity of giving and sharing of excellence in music. He was born in Ballyshannon in County Donegal. Ballyshannon is represented here today. Now I know that Cork people, being modest in other respects, often try to claim him because his family moved down. And indeed, he is in the role of distinguished students of what we used to call in St. Flannan's the North Monastery. And there, in that long list, which includes Thomas Curtin, it includes also, of course, Jack Lynch, as well, I think it includes really Neil Tobin and Jonathan Rhys Mears in the modern period. But there he is, Rory Gallagher, is of the North Mon as well, and indeed the president of the Past Pupils Union is with us. You can find, therefore, a statue of Rory in Ballyshannon, and you can find one just off Patrick Street, and you can find a street named after Rory in Dublin. And I know that he's intended to erect another statue outside Ulster Hall in Belfast, and I'm delighted we have that representation here today as well. And that is so appropriate, given Rory's long association with the venue to which he brought light, hope, and I think the blues during the darkest days of what is referred to as the Troubles. He began his career like many musicians in the 1960s as part of the show bands which toured the ballrooms of Ireland. There's a great book by Jimmy Higgins on that, the history of the show bands in this period. It's simply called Are Ye the Band? Which gives you a flavour of the time of ham sandwiches and insatiable publics. I think that it was a time, each of the members of Impact, Rory Show Band, were expected to adopt the style of one of their heroes, and Rory Gallagher chose Chuck Berry, who drew on the deep tradition of African American music to become one of the pioneers of rock and roll. Rory would later star and record with Chuck Berry, and I believe that there is a wonderful YouTube clip of Rory performing a cover of Nadine on the German TV show Rockpalast in 1982. This, I think, is 1982. Rory enjoyed success in Ireland and internationally with Taste, a blues band he formed in 1965 with whom he recorded 3 albums, and later with Jerry McAvoy and Wilger Campbell with whom he performed under the name Rory Gallagher. A reflection of the following, he had gained amongst rock and roll fans across the world, and by the 1970s he was being hailed, several times being referred to as the best guitarist in the world. And those who were fortunate to attend his gigs during the 70s and 80s, they speak of the vitality and vibrancy of those concerts, as well as his sheer talent and excellence on the guitar. Indeed, so complete was his mastery that it is now impossible to mention the Fender Stratocaster without thinking of Rory Gallagher. And he was popular not only for his ability, and I've spoken to so many people who have attended those gigs, that he was not just that he was one of the greatest musicians of his age, but those who knew him well will speak of how warm, generous, kind and compassionate he was. Other members of the musical family regularly refer to his guidance to them. Indeed, so much so that he belied all the stereotypes of the rock star. At concerts he was never distant, but was glad to be among those attending before and after, and with fellow musicians. He remained unmoved by the general music fashions of his day, making his own distinctive journey, creating a fusion of folk, blues and rock and roll that in its sheer technical brilliance and artistry remains unsurpassed today, and that I suspect will never be equalled. And I do want to pay tribute to those as well who are making these choices in relation to coins, to think that there will be in fact coins honouring Phil Lynott and Luke Kelly. This is very, very important, and Sean's will look and Kyola Correlor and Enig, to put those who, in fact, which one of the most distinctive aspects of our contemporary world, being Irish, is excellence in performance and generosity in music. I'm also delighted that Niall Stokes is here, because Hot Press really has functioned as a kind of heritage council for rock in Ireland, and I must say I was delighted to be associated peripherally myself for a decade. On to the coin presentation ceremony itself. One of the most important people here is of course the designer Michael Guilfoyle, who in the coin has captured the spirit of Rory Gallagher. And I want to extend my gratitude too to our distinguished visitor, Mr. Vincent van Heeke, the Chief Executive Officer of the Royal Dutch Mint, for the expertise and commitment that his team brought to the production of the commemorative coin. This is a wonderful combination, wonderful cooperation between two members of the European Union, and it is so appropriate that it is in the area of design, for which, if you like, I think there is such a strong tradition of cooperation. May I say that I'm delighted to have the opportunity to present Dónal Gallagher with a commemorative coin honouring his brother. Dónal, you've been a wonderful custodian of the memory and legacy of your brother, something for which I believe the whole country should be grateful. And I know that you were clearly involved, central in the design of the coin itself, that it would express the spirit of your brother. So, may it stand as a representation of the very best aspirations of our Republic. Countess na nehi is táfachtaí agus muide Genevieve Irecht ar féin a carinahan to bubble and down, on táfachtaí bebnant an ceoltóirí agus ach go háirithe, an caidan a bhí buinte amach agus an choileáthir a bhí aige í láir na daine I gutsin thar na tír éasúile. For the centrality of our culture in all its diversity, the generosity and solidarity of our people with each other and with other peoples, all of that is important, and the possibility of achieving excellence not just in every field of endeavour. All of this is brought together when we come together to honour one of the greatest representations of excellence, Rory Gallagher. Firkin Fáilte Rory Gallagher, it has been such a wonderful privilege to welcome you all here and to celebrate this important celebratory event of musical honour, but also of coinage. And I have to say, I'm so pleased as well that those who are involved in coins and collectors of different coins are also with us. Those who are conversing with the ghost of Yeats, but also something very important, bringing the importance of coinage into contemporary design and use of new materials. Míle buíochas. Thank you for coming with me this morning.